was saying a publisher is planning to publish 6 cookbooks, K, L, M, N, O, and P, over the course of the next year. Each cookbook will either be in the fall or spring. So this is a good example of like where it's like not in and out, but it's, I still call this an in and out game because either you're in the fall or you're out of the fall. Would you typically have noticed this and called this in and out, you think?
No, I would have done like F and then S and then done like a grouping thing.
Yeah, which like I mean technically that is like right, but I think it's just helpful to think, even though yes, rather than having two groups, like it's I like it, thinking of it as in and out is so much easier because if it's not in the fall, like it has to be in the spring, and that's like just such a strong rule to be able to pay attention to. All right, so let's go ahead and start with rule number 1. What does this mean?
M and P can't be together in fall nor spring.
So essentially what that means is like if we have M, then we can't have P, right? Or if, what happens if we have P?
Can't have M.
So what I would do here is I would pick one of those and I would determine that that's like what I'm going to like base my like if then rule on. And so let's say like in one of them, I'm going to say that I have M, and in one of them, I'm just going to say that I don't have M. Is that fair? And so I'm going to make a little chart up here where like you'll get used to this on your own where like circle, let's say that circle is fall and X is spring.
Okay.
So if they can't be together, then in world number 1, what do we know?
If they can't be together?
Yeah. So they, in world number 1, based on rule number 1, what do we know?
Oh, that P is going to be out?
Yep. And what about world number 2?
Well, if M is out, then P can stay in.
Yep, he has to be in, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so now what about rule number 2?
K and N must be published the same season. So K and N have to be together.
So what we have to do first is we have to split these, right? So we're going to create more scenarios and we're going to make them the exact same as the one above it. So here we're going to have this. And here we're going to do it. So what do you think we're going to do here, like for circle slash? Like what do you, based on this rule, what do you think we're going to do?
We'll have one where they're together and one where they're not. Or
Well,
they both have to be together, I guess.
well, they have to be together no matter what, right? So we're gonna have one where they're what and one where they're what. So what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna like where it's like K is in, and one where K is out for the first scenario, and then I'm gonna do one where K is in and one where K is out for the second one because like these are different. Like 1 and 2 were different, right? So we need to make sure that we have both scenarios taken care of. But K and N must be together. So then in world 1, what do we know?
N has to be together. N has to be in.
Yep. What about world 2?
N has to be in.
Wait, this is 2, sorry.
Oh, for the bottom one down here. Oh.
Yeah, I think you did 3, but yeah, 3 is, and then 2.
Okay, I'm seeing what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah, no, I can see where, I know what you were meaning, yeah.
Okay, so if K was in, then then N needs to be in.
Yes, and if M is, oh, yeah, oh, sorry, I was looking at this, I was looking at M. I see where I went. Okay, so in 2, if K is in, N must be in, and then down here for 3, if K is out, N must be out, and then here we would have N out. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
So what about how would you diagram rule number 3?
Would we split it again?
No, how would you
Oh, how would I diagram? Oh, normally what I like how I would diagram.
once you get used to this, you can kind of skip this diagramming phase. But for now, I want us to diagram it just to make sure we're on the same page before we start.
Okay, so normally how I would do it is I would put like K and then a small F and then and then arrow O and then F.
Excellent. And how I would diagram this, I would do this, but I would probably here circle it just because our like code for being in the fall is being circled.
Okay.
This is a small thing, like because I think like we're doing in out, but technically it's fall spring. So if K is circled, O is out. So this one's really easy where we don't have to split it again because if K is not like here where like K is not in, we don't have to do anything there. Like we don't know there what O is doing, right? But just when K is in, we know O is in. So in world 1 and world 2, we get to put O in the fall. And then down below, like we don't know. So I would just leave that one for now.
Okay.
All right. And then so what about rule number 4?
As far as diagramming, I put MF and then NS.
Yeah, so I would probably do like if M is in, then N is, yeah. So we have to check all of them. So this is where we have to be pay attention. Where in rule number 1, we have M in fall, but here we have N in fall. And so since that breaks this rule, that's when I like this rule dies. So we just cross it off. It can't work. In world 2, we have M in spring, so that doesn't impact us at all. You see that here? Like it's pretty cool. And then in world 3, we have M in and N out, so that one's totally fine. And then in world 4, we have M out, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And so just for simplicity, I'm going to erase this one to make it easier for us to see, and I'll make this number 1. But then we have a couple floaters, and that just means that they can go either way. Right, so I'm going to go get the questions. All right, so for this first one, I would still probably like go read through the rules again, and this you can determine what you think here, but I really like reading the rules again because I have just misread stuff before.
Yeah.
So if you want to do number 19 and let me know your answer.
So I know that M and P can't be together, so B would be out.
Excellent.
And then K and then let's read again.
Oops, sorry.
And then A would be out.
Okay.
Then what did I say? A and B?
A and B, yep.
And then if K is in the fall, O is in the fall. And then C would be out because if K is in fall, then O needs to be in fall. And then if M is in the fall, then N is in the spring. D would be out.
Fabulous. So then what's our answer?
E.
Yep. Awesome. And then we're going to do the if questions first, which on this we get lucky where, I make this smaller. Oh, I made it really small. Cool. So we get lucky where 20 and 21 are if questions. So let's go ahead and try these ones next.
M is published in the fall, which defines a pair of cookbooks that could be published along with L and O.
Yep. See?
That's crazy.
All right, what about 21?
N is published in the fall, which the following could be true. K is published. L is published.
What world are you looking at here?
2.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. K is published in the spring. No.
Yep. K has to be in the fall if N is in the fall.
And then the L is published in the fall. Didn't we say like L is a floater?
Yep. If we don't have it like marked, then it's a floater.
So, I mean, it could be true.
I like that one too.
M is out, so no. C is gone.
Excellent.
And then O could be fall. Oh, wait. Our circle is fall. So
Yeah,
O is
fall. Yep. O and P are both out because we have O and P both as fall in our diagram. So it's B.
cool.
All right. And then what about 22?
The schedule for the publication could be fully determined. See, these are, I'm really bad at these too. Like, fully determined. I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah, so let's figure it out. Like, try it this way and see what happens.
K is published in the fall, then L is published in the spring. I mean, that can't be fully determined just because.
Okay. So if K, okay, so they're telling us if K is in the fall, so in what world do we have K in the fall?
World 2.
World 2, okay. And L is in the spring. So the only world we're looking at is world 2. So if we put L in the spring, is every person determined? Where they're going in world 2?
I guess.
Yeah, fully determined. We know where all of them are going. But let's see what a wrong answer looks like so you can compare. We got lucky on that. Like, I always love when it's like the first answer. I'm like, oh yeah, that works. All right, let's check. Okay, so O is published in the fall. So in what scenario do we have O, or what scenarios could we have O in the fall?
I guess. Well, all of them.
All of them, yeah. So let's put O in the fall in all of them. I'm just going to highlight it for this purpose. We have O in the fall. And if we put P in the spring, like, do we see here out in world 1, we have P in the spring here, but it's not fully determined because we don't know where L is going.
Okay.
And in world 2, we don't have P, and then in world 2 and 4, we don't have P in the spring, so those don't matter.
Okay.
Let's cross those out. And let's look at C. So in C, we say P is published in the fall. So in what world could we have P in the fall?
4.
Yeah. And whenever P is in the fall, L is published in the spring. So we don't know where O is going here, so it's not fully determined.
Okay.
So we can cross that one off. And K and L are both, and I mean, like, I don't think we have to go through, like, they're all going to be like that. Can you see how it looks like when there's one that's not fully determined?
Yeah, fully determined slate was always so hard for me because I was literally diagramming every single
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
All right. And then, oh, a substitute question. Which of the following is substitute for the condition